Pittsburgh Steelers fans. Welcome back to another episode of Steeler Stat Geek. This is Dave Schofield coming at you, where I am now hearing myself again coming back on YouTube, um, which tells me we are broadcasting. We are live, and just here we are. Sorry, we're a little bit later tonight. This was a little bit on me. I was had a couple things I had to check, some things I had to square away before we get going. But once again, joining me, like Brad says, he says, "What up, my fam?" Which is how we all feel when we're here in the live chat. But I also get to spend some time with my fam, with my big brother Rich. How you doing tonight, Rich?
Doing well tonight. Again, always fun coming off a Steeler W.
Of course. And this time it's nice because we had a little bit more time to process it with a Sunday game. Boy, it was really nice to get back to a 1 o'clock game from a person who is the deputy editor of a website perspective. That was pretty nice. I do want to say, since I'm saying about the website, make sure you're checking out behindthesteelcurtain.com for all your Steelers needs. We've got lots of content coming at you. I know I even had a breaking news article right at around between 4 and 4:30 today, where the Steelers had to make a roster move of putting Ulysses Gilbert III on IR with his back. Coach Tomlin had mentioned earlier today that he was possibly going to miss some time, and here it looks like his season is done. They promoted Robert Spillane from the practice squad. They cut loose the running back that they signed last week to the practice squad, re-signed Kevin Rader, the tight end, and brought in a wide receiver out of Purdue. I think his last name is Wright, Wright. So that's just a little bit of stuff there. Hey, for those of you coming in for the live chat, I know I'm the one talking an awful lot right now, but just a couple things to cover. Just got to say this. If you're in here, make sure if you're watching this, like I watch it on my phone, all you got to do is hit the X temporarily on the live chat, and you're right there on the front page. There's the thumbs up button. Hit that for us. That's the best thing you can do for us. That would be really helpful. Make sure you're doing that for all of your Behind the Steel Curtain podcasts. We have 7 of them coming at you each week. And at the end tonight, we'll talk about next week. We're going to have a little bit of a different schedule because we've got super short week next week, which we'll have to we got to remember about that with the Thursday night game, not this Thursday, but the following Thursday. But let's not even talk about this Sunday.
I still hate Thursday night games.
I do.
Yeah, we went to just a few of them during the season to now one every week. Wreaks havoc on me getting all my fantasy stuff set.
Oh, you know what? I'm going to tell you. I am going to beat Steeler Fan 74 to the punch. I'm going to talk about the Survivor League right now, although he might not have joined us yet. So he'll probably ask me again later.
Has anybody seen him in the live chat?
I haven't seen him yet. So we'll see if he gets there. So I'll get to say, ha ha. Oh, there he is. I just saw him. There he is. So
you're just calling him out.
Yep, just calling him out, letting him know. Here we go with the Survivor Pool update. The reason I'm bringing this up was the most common selection last week was the Thursday night game, was the 49ers over the Cardinals game. Mm-hmm. I picked that one. I was also doing a Survivor League in FanDuel. I completely forgot to do my FanDuel one in time. So I'd made the same picks in both of them the whole year. And of course, I don't have that Thursday. So who do I end up going with? Green Bay. So I'm still in on.
Please tell me you'd already used the Steelers.
Oh, yeah, I'd already used the Steelers. Okay, I used the Steelers against the Bengals.
Okay.
So because of that whole going late thing, I know what you mean on a Thursday night, I got knocked out of my FanDuel Survivor League, which I was doing pretty good in, that I was still alive. But I am still in the BTSC Survivor League. We had 19 people get eliminated this week, and it's the first week that we've had 19 out of 97. So It's the first week that we've had where every single person made their pick. No one got eliminated because they forgot to make their pick.
So in other words, they didn't forget. They just sucked at picking.
Yeah. So a lot of people picked Green Bay, had some Cleveland picks, had some Jets over the Dolphins picks. I thought that was kind of gutsy. I was leaning towards the Jets there.
Coin flip at best.
Yeah. So there was another one in there that got some people. Seattle almost got a lot of people on that one. That was a close one. So it was some interesting
Well, some,
stuff.
some people, that 49er game was a little closer than you thought it would
Well,
have been.
I'll be honest with you. I saw when I went through the preview, I said on the preview, oh, the 49ers are losing because they were down 7-0. Then I saw they were up 21-7. And I didn't really pay attention because we had the show and I had other stuff to do. And
Right.
next thing you know, I look, I'm like, wait a second. I checked my Twitter for one other thing for a story, and I'm like, why is someone saying about they were going to go to bed, but now the Cardinals have made it a game? And by the time I turned the TV on, it had just finished. So that was pretty interesting. But let's forget all that other stuff. Let's
All right,
talk
let's
about
talk
Steelers.
Steelers.
Let's talk Steelers. And I'm going to start this one. Because there's something I
Bring
want to
on.
say. And I want everyone in the live chat to make sure you take note of this. Well, first of all, with 6 minutes left in the game, I had to send a text on Sunday to Brian Anthony
I know where you're going.
Davis and Jeff Hartman to say, you've got to be kidding me. It is currently 26-24, which ridiculous Brian Anthony Davis just throws out random numbers just off the top of his head for predictions. And they hit that number, and that's what he picked. And what do you know? That number held. And he perfectly predicted the score of the game after Jeff and I were just laughing our heads off at these ridiculous scores he comes up with. And it was ridiculous. I just realized I got to say something. Okay. You got to sit up a little bit higher, bro.
Why?
And I'll do the same thing. We are inverted twins today.
Oh, are we really?
Look at this.
I always go the wrong way on this.
Yeah.
Dilly.
Yep. You've got the black with the gold dilly. I've got the gold with the black dilly.
Very nice.
So
and tell everybody what's so cool about these shirts.
Hello,
dilly.
Oh, we were at that game.
We were there.
We were there. We were at that game.
And
that was the Tennessee game?
That was the Tennessee game. And remember, they were on our end of the field.
Yeah.
And I turned to you and said, "Did Ben just yell dilly?
Yeah.
So
we were there and we heard it from his mouth while he was on the field. That was great. I don't know if that was the first time he said it in the game, but we definitely heard that. That was pretty cool. So I had to throw that out there. I'm going to give my first number from this past week because I want to show that I want to give a shout out to one offensive coordinator, Randy Fichtner. I still think you have a lot of room to grow. I'm not shouting out to you for doing a great job or anything. I'm shouting out at you for thank you for listening to the show and doing what I said, because my first number is 45. And that number was on the first play of the second drive that the Steelers had. They brought in the jumbo package and the personnel group that I was shouting about last week. Or they brought in Nix. They had one wide receiver. It was Johnny Holton. And I'm like, what are you doing? You're telegraphing what you're doing every time. The only difference in the setup was it was Trey Edmonds in place of James Conner. And what did they do the first time they ran that play? They turned to hand the ball off, and Roosevelt Nix goes to the left. And three linebackers all head in his direction.
Follow him. Yep.
As David DeCastro and Marquise Pouncey pull to the right, 45-yard run. Yep. All because he must have been listening. And when I said, you've got to throw something, you've got to send Nix one way and run it the other way, I thought they meant run a toss or something. No, it was great. Nix filled for where the guys pulled. And the linebackers followed him and busted out the 45-yard run. And it was just enough for them to step the wrong way. Even just one step was enough for him to get there. Pouncey got around the corner great and was able to cut a guy. It was fantastic. So unfortunately with 45, that was half their rush total. The rest of their rushes equated to 45 yards after that.
Yeah, but if you think about what that ends up doing is that then is going to start to keep teams honest. All right. All we got to do is throw in something like that every once in a while, and that's not going to allow them to over pursue when we come in with that package.
Yes, exactly.
Next is to actually be able to run a fake somewhere and throw the ball somewhere.
Yeah.
We start mixing a few of those things in. That package looks a little better when you put it out on the field.
And I know the fans would love it if they would hit one Zach the Hulk banner. I don't think
Oh my
that's going to be the
gosh.
case. I could see them more. I mean, they're either going to take the deep shot to Holton, or I wouldn't be shocked if they would ever run an end around with him out of that formation. But I think they would know it was coming. I
It,
don't think that would work. It wouldn't surprise me if they tried it, but I don't think it would work.
that's all right. You said that, and the first thing that pops into my mind is let's throw the ball to Banner and down on the goal line somewhere, score a touchdown. All I hear is John Madden in the replacements, about loving when you get a fat guy score a touchdown because
Yep. That would be. Oh my goodness, especially if it was at Heinz Field.
oh my gosh, the place
Oh.
would probably fall down from all the noise.
Yes, that would go crazy. When we're talking about that formation, Varys brought up something. Says Holton
I was
still
just
has
going to say, why don't you pull that up?
0 catches on the year. So that's a problem, and that's why there's no threat to pass much out of that formation. But eventually, you're going to have to do it, even if it doesn't work, just to show that you will do something else.
We're going to have to do something, get Johnny Holton on the field a little bit, and get him a few catches and comfortable. The guy could do it.
Yeah.
We just haven't. I don't think we've really put him in a situation yet to be successful and throw the ball his way.
They've only thrown it deep.
Just me.
They've only thrown him the deep ball all
Correct.
season, and it's been a long time. People are still complaining about him. They're saying, why is he even active? Well, one, they only have 5 wide receivers, and 2, the guy is your best gunner. You've got to. He does great out there in the parts of special teams that you don't think of. Not return people when they hear special teams, they just think about the returners. It's not as a great returner. It's as a great DHB type guy. So, what number do you got from this past week?
Oh, my favoriteest number, because to me it was the ball game. My favorite number, 96.
Yes. Oh, you were watching Isaiah Buggs as well?
Yeah, sure. No, I was not watching Isaiah Buggs. 96-yard touchdown from Minkah Fitzpatrick off the INT. I still think he got gypped at least a yard, maybe 2.
Agreed.
But at a 50 went in the books at 96. Yeah. Turning point in the game.
Yes.
I was really worried. We were going to give at least 3 there, possibly 7. And instead it's 7 the other way for us.
Yeah.
I mean, that guy has been money since we've gotten him.
Oh, absolutely. And it's funny because I threw something out when there was a report that the Steelers were one of the teams interested in it. I know some other Steelers sites thought it was ridiculous that we actually did an article about. There was a report that we were there, but it was reported. So we did it. And I threw something out there like, well, the Steelers don't have a third to offer. Maybe they could, trade. Nothing that I did that I thought I'm like would give up a first. I'm like, but what I think the Steelers could do, I don't know if it would be enough. I am so glad they just pulled the trigger on it. I'm so glad that they spent the first round pick. I was leery of it a little bit because I didn't know that much about him coming from the Dolphins, meaning being in that system. I knew he was wasn't being played properly. I don't watch a lot of college football. I follow college football. I just don't have time on Saturdays to watch it. So I didn't know as much of him as other people do because from his time with Alabama. And I was like, but if the Steelers were willing to give up that much, then they knew something. That was just my opinion.
I felt the guy was going to come in and be solid. I was questioning, when you trade away that first, you're wanting impact player, right? Like somebody, not just solid. You want a guy to be, best of the best. Yeah. And I think Minkah's been in that best of the best.
I mean, right now, if the season ended today, he's a Pro Bowler. He's got to.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, the question is he all pro? Is he the best safety in both conferences? So that's just something to ask. Any other numbers you want to throw out?
My second favorite number was the 17.3. Just over 17.
Yeah, I was going to say it wasn't the 21.3 that Minkah was clocked at.
No, how fast he was running, I could care less about that.
It was all that mattered to that didn't matter how fast he got. It was the 6 points he got out of it.
I mean, it wasn't like the one where the the Tyreek Hill play where he's catching up to the guy. Did you see that in the Kansas City
Yeah,
game? Where he
caught up
nobody's
to
going
his
to
own
catch
running
him, but he
back.
caught up to his own guy.
Yeah.
No, the 17.3 average per catch for James Washington in this game
Absolutely.
on four receptions.
Yes.
To me, that was the James Washington we see sometimes in the preseason. That's the James Washington we've been waiting to see in the regular season.
Yeah.
Yeah. Is this the James Washington coming out party? Yet to be seen. Yeah. Don't want to jump on too quick, but if we could start seeing more of that type of production out of him, that's really going to do a lot to help not just the Steelers, but it's really going to help Mason Rudolph as well.
Yeah, I mean, that was a great step in the right direction. Like I said, I wasn't sure because I actually sent this to Jeff and Lance after the game. I'm like, would you call this a breakout game for James Washington? I asked them before they brought it up on the post-game show. Because then, of course, they did. And Jeff says absolutely. Lance says not quite yet. He's like, he's got to get to 100 yards. I'm like, I don't know that it was a pure breakout performance, but it showed that he was on the cusp.
You know what?
That's my
he puts together a couple more of those. Then we're looking back and we're calling that his breakout performance.
Yeah, and honestly, I would rather him have 3 games with 80 yards than in 3 games have 1 game with 120 yards and 2 games with one with only 1 catch for 22 and the other one with none. I would rather have that production like that.
Right. I would rather see him making sure we get him 4 to 6 balls every week.
Yep. So I know we have some other stuff we could talk about, but I think some other people can help us this. I'm going to send it out now into the live chat if it actually shows up. I'm asking for numbers from this past week's game.
Hey, don't forget to mention the super chat feature because you always forget about that.
I forget about the super chat feature. If you want your number or your to be brought up no matter what, right now we're looking for numbers. If you have a question, hold off because we'll get to that at the end, even if it's from last week. We'll look at it either from last week or from moving forward. But if you have a number you want brought up for sure, then you can just type it in at the bottom, hit that little $sign. You could donate anything you want to the show, any amount. Don't feel like you have to do it. We're not asking you to do it, but if it's something you would like to do, that is a way that you all can give back. But remember, the other thing that you can do to help us out just as much as anything is to go hit that thumbs up button. Go hit that like button. And if you're listening to this in audio form, go into whatever I don't know, venue's not the right word. Whatever system you're using to listen to it and give a positive rating there. That would be great for everything that you do. That's the biggest thing you can do to help us out here at Behind the Steel Curtain with bringing you the best content that we can. So let's turn around and see. Yeah, I see Kyle was agreeing with somebody else. I was going to try to bring up the other one, but I don't know. I can get back far enough to find it.
I scrolled back a little ways.
I got it.
Find it. Did you get it?
I got it. Steeler fan 74 said it. 5 sacks. I put this in my numbers article. Yeah. What was that?
Against what had been a fantastic offensive line.
Absolutely. Now
they had not been giving up sacks.
Granted,
we get 5.
And they lost their center during the game. He came back for a little bit and then was out for the game. But the backup center didn't do too bad. How about the supposedly best guard in the league getting bulldozed by Cam Hayward so bad that he hurt his quarterback?
Yeah,
that's kind of tough.
That was Cam just imposing his will on somebody. That was pretty impressive.
Yep. Ron was talking about 73 yards rushing for Edmonds. I think that sounds correct because he had 73. Brooks James had none. Rudolph, I think, officially had 7.
5 or 7. Yeah, it was single digits.
Well, yeah, but I don't know. He might have lost a couple yards on his kneel downs.
That's true.
And
no, but
Samuels had 10.
Yeah, Samuels had 10.
Yeah, so that was one of those things. Let's see. This is not just from this game. This is from the past season. We got 22 turnovers and 28 sacks by this defense so far, halfway through the year. This is the halfway point right now. So this is the perfect time if you want to know what the Steelers could be doing when it comes to these kind of statistics. Just take what they got and double it and say, Here you go. I mean, that would be 44 turnovers and 56 sacks for the season. That almost doesn't seem like that's possible to keep that up. But you know what? Let's not worry about the end of the season.
No.
Let's just keep getting them each week.
Yep, give me a couple every week. I'll be happy. But I'd have never dreamt of those numbers coming in. I knew that we had the potential to do some of those things with our defense, but they have been a very pleasant surprise, especially with the turnover numbers after as terrible as we were at it last year.
Yes, last year was one of 2 years. What was the other year? 2011, I think it was. If I'm wrong, someone will correct me. There was one other year where the Steelers had only 15 takeaways. Last year was one of them, and it's the only time they've been under 20, and it was at 15. So they made a big jump. Varys has something that was brought up here. Fitzpatrick, 4 interceptions, 3 away from the 7 for the Steelers record held by the great Troy. I'm not 100% sure that is the record.
It might be might be a safety record.
I'm not 100% sure if that's correct. I'm just bringing it up from what they say. I'm usually the numbers guy, and I don't know that one off the top of my head. But if not, that's still really good. Now think about it. That's only
that one up
6,
for me, Kyle. Okay,
that's only 6 games with the Steelers as well. That's
right.
the great thing about that.
Because he wasn't here the first.
He wasn't there the first. Now we didn't have any down there. So I was close to what I said for how fast he was going. Andre Coleman says, "Hey Dave, according to NFL Next Gen Stat, Minkah's 96-yard TD was the 11th fastest time at 21.48. So it was 21.5 or something. I knew it was in the 20 something. It was the fastest one of the week. I'm pretty sure that they said. I think it was faster than obviously the Williams one that Tyreek Hill caught up on.
Yeah. Hey, put that one up there by Ron that just came up there, because that's who I figured had the overall.
Gotcha. So for a corner,
I thought Mel Blount had the actual record for corner back in the day when you could actually play corner in the NFL.
Yeah. Well, just think he's the reason that they changed the rules. Brad said that Tyreek went 22. Was that this week he did the 22.7, or was I thinking of that was a? He did have a touchdown this week, but I didn't know if it was a long one where he really got going.
What has record for corner?
So,
what's the top for safety?
There we go. We've got our young statistician looking up some stuff.
I got the mini Stat Geek over here doing some work for me.
The bacon bits. Sorry, no, he's got his bacon
avatar
icon there.
Hold on.
So I'm ready to get into next week. So I'm ready to get it rolling. So, you know what? This is a good point that Double HH brought up. Mel got interceptions because he would punch the he changed the one word there and take the football after. He used to just kind of take a shot at the wide receiver and punch the ball out.
Kyle got me some numbers on some things in terms of number of interceptions. There's a lot that are high. I don't have a lot of these are coming back from the 50s. Guy back in 46, and then in the 50s.
Generally, the best thing to think of is post-merger after 1970.
Okay, we got somebody. Of course, you got Mel Blount then in 75 with 11. You got M. Wagner in 73 had 8.
Mike Wagner.
That's who I'm not. Okay, then after that is Rod Woodson had 8 in 93.
Here we got one from Jeffrey Benedict saying Darren Perry, Troy Polamalu, and Donnie Shell all had 7. No safeties had more since 1970. That's the stat we're looking for.
Polamalu and Shell each had 7 twice.
Twice.
Ooh. Polamalu in 2008 and 2010. Donnie Shell in 80 and 84.
All righty. So that's some good stuff. Let's see if we can.
Thank you to the mini geek over there that found that info for me.
Thank you very much, there, Kyle, and also thank you for Jeffrey for chiming in with those. That helped out a lot.
Fantastic.
Okay,
fantastic.
Here we go. We got some people that are wanting to fire some questions. You might have to type those up again whenever we get to the questions part because I won't be able to bring them up. But we're going to roll forward into this week because this week is a very interesting game. And if you look at the title of the show, which I've already forgot what it was, it's something about the Rams being the perfect opportunity to cut loose. It's something like that because that's what I was trying to say to Jeff today about what I wanted to talk about. And here we go. We're halfway through the season. I've got an article coming out tomorrow that talks about where the Steelers are right now. And I kind of started it off with the ESPN 30 for 30 of the what if I told you? What if I told you Ben Roethlisberger got hurt after the second was deemed out for the season after week 2, and the Steelers were 0-2 at that point. And what if I told you the Steelers went 4-2 over the next 6 games, where even the backup had to miss time?
Right.
What if I told you that the Steelers are only 1 game out of the wild card halfway through the season, and the team that is currently 1 spot ahead of them, they just defeated, so therefore they have the tiebreak over them. So,
I remember several weeks ago we were talking wild card was out of the question. Out of the question.
And look how close they are to it.
Now suddenly we're right back in it.
Yeah, and the whole point of this article is the Steelers are on the verge of controlling their own destiny, because you control your own destiny where you don't have to have anything else happen. They're on the verge of controlling their own destiny with the wild card if they can just make up 1 game. And then it's from that point moving forward. Now, does it have to happen this week? No. Does it have to happen the next week? No. And could 1 loss set that back to where they have a much bigger hill to climb? Absolutely. Yes. But this is why I think this week is the biggest week to just let it all out. And that is, out of your 8 remaining games, currently at the halfway point, only 3 of those teams have winning records. And you don't face a second team that has a winning record until week 15 or after. So you have weeks 10 through 14 where you have 1 team that has a winning record and 4 straight games with teams that don't. So there you are. It's this week. It's the Rams.
Right.
They were in the Super Bowl last year. They are 5-3. The game is at Heinz Field, but they are the favorite by 3.5 points currently. Well, at least it was earlier in the day when I checked it the last time. I hope this isn't much like last week when it kept flip-flopping each day between the Colts and the Steelers.
Right.
But it's 3.5 points. They're coming off their bye, so they've had lots of time to prepare for you. So here, and they're coming in here. They've got. I'm going to say not arguably the best defensive player in the league. I'm not even going to argue about that. I do believe Aaron Donald's the best defensive player in the league. Coming into your house in a game you're not supposed to win. Even Lance Williams sent me a graphic today. Those Lance that people like to call him the Steelers hater has the Steelers going 6-2 in the second half. 6-2 has you at 8-6, and right there probably in the wild card hunt, if not definitely having a wild card.
I think you misspoke there. 10-6.
I say 10. What did I say? 6-2.
You said 8-6.
10-6. Yeah, I'm just not speaking straight.
That's
so
right.
Yeah, that's 4 + 6 is 10. Got to remember those numbers. Last time I checked too. So he has them going 10-6 right there at the wild card. And out of those 6 games, out of those 6 wins, one of those 2 losses, he has is the Rams. Okay. So even if the Steelers lose this game, it doesn't mean that, oh, wow, there's the big setback, they're out of it. No, this is a game they're not supposed to win. So my thing
let's go win and get a bonus.
Let's go let it all hang out. Because guess what? This is the perfect chance to take chances, to cut your young guys loose and see how they respond, to see if you need to keep playing it so conservatively. Because I'll be honest with you, I was getting frustrated when it looked like the Steelers might not pull it out against the Colts. I felt they got too conservative late in the game. So I want to throw some numbers out with this, and it goes back.
Somebody threw something out on the live chat. I'm wondering if we really know what we're looking at there. Mm-hmm. Although their math doesn't add up. 98671X put last 10. You see that one? up
Yeah.
just a little.
Yep.
Now their math is off because 3, 4, and
That's
1
only-
that doesn't count. That doesn't count up to 10 years. That would only be
Yeah.
8 years.
I actually
wonder how. Have you looked this up? What are they coming off a bye?
I can't remember exactly what it was because I saw a stat of them coming off the bye. They're actually pretty good coming off the bye.
Okay.
They've won at least 2 in a row, if not 3 in a row. They've won every game coming out of the bye under McVay.
Under McVay. There you go. That's the important part.
So they do well coming off the bye. Now I don't know that I didn't look at if they were on the road or if
On
they
the
were
road
at
or
home.
Yep.
Because this is a West Coast team coming east. It's not a 1 o'clock game, so they're going to be. They could probably adjust. Maybe not even change their clocks and pretend like it's a 1 o'clock game. So it's all in whatever they wanted to do there. But my biggest thing, and if you did not hear or watch Lance Williams, I said it on Friday, you need to go back and do that. Because what it was, he says, the Steelers will make the playoffs if. And what he outlined was exactly what I want to see them loosen up with, and that was their play in the red zone.
Mm-hmm.
He laid it out very well. Like I said, if you didn't hear it, go back and check it out. And the problem is the Steelers went from the best red zone team last season to at the very bottom this season. Now, it's not as bad as what you think when it comes to the red zone. And I'm going to throw some numbers out here to which I was asked something before when I was saying about I expected the Steelers to start slow out of the bye. They always do, blah, blah, blah. No touchdowns since 2008, the first quarter, blah, blah, blah. And someone asked me why. And I'm like, oh, well, your guess is as good as mine because I don't know if they're not prepared. I didn't know if it had something to do with how much they practice, all this other stuff. I don't know. This time I'm going to try to give you what I think the reason is. So the Steelers have made technically you could say they've made 22 trips into the red zone on the season. Now, you could even change that number to 23, and I'm going to tell you the one that I'm going to throw out. I'm going to throw out the one. It technically doesn't count because at the end of the Patriots game, the Steelers were outside of the red zone, and as the clock expired, they ran a play all the way down to the 5. They didn't actually run a snap in the red zone.
Yeah,
so
gotcha.
Okay. Another one that I'm not counting is the end of the Chargers game when they were in the red zone and they were taking a knee.
Yep.
At the game. We're going to throw that out.
Yep.
So we're going to look at the other 21 red zone possessions. Here's the good. Here's the bad. The good is the Steelers have scored on every single red zone possession.
Okay.
Turnovers in the red zone. They have no turnovers on downs in the red zone, other than the kneel down where they didn't take the field goal. That's it. They've scored every time. The bad is that out of those 21, they've only scored 8 touchdowns with 13 field goals. That is, what is that? Is that 40? I had the number. Now I can't remember. Don't make me actually have to look.
That's got to be in the neighborhood of 40.
Yeah, I was going to say, is that the 38.1? I'm pretty sure that's the 38.1. Wait, is the 38.1 where I counted the one or where I didn't count the one? So this is so frustrating. Let's see.
Mini Stat Geek's probably
it's
over
the
here.
38.1. The 38.1 was the correct one. So it was a 38.1% in the red zone because technically they only count red zone successes if you score a touchdown. Because you get down that far, you need to score the touchdown.
Yeah, I will say this though, on the bright side,
yeah,
Boz isn't missing.
Exactly. there is only 2 teams in the NFL that have gone inside the red zone and not either turned it over on downs, turned it over as a turnover, or missed a field goal. 2 teams in the NFL. One is the Steelers.
We know one.
Yes.
Who's the other one?
The other one is the only other team who has a longer active winning streak in the AFC, longer than the Steelers. And the only reason they have a longer winning streak than the Steelers is because they were the last team to beat the Steelers.
That would be
that would be those ratbirds. Let's not even
thank
say
you.
it.
Oh, you
Yeah.
said ratbird. That's funny. I was trying to keep from saying that, and you went
I'm
ahead and
saying
said it.
ratbirds.
Okay,
I'm saying ratbirds.
I hope
Yes.
Steve's not watching you.
That
And
yeah.
not Steve O'Neill. You know what Steve I'm
Yeah,
talking about.
we have a friend who's a big Ravens fan, although he lives in Florida now. But I just said it. I shouldn't have said it. There we go. He's a big Ratbird fan.
The
So that's
Cleveland
a
Browns in
problem.
disguise.
Exactly. That's who they are. The problem with the red zone there is you like that you're getting points, and you are getting the points, but you're settling for field goals too often. And to me, that is more of a sign of being conservative. I feel that the Steelers are conservative on offense inside the 20 on both ends of the field. When the Steelers are backed up inside the 20, you're going to see them get conservative and predictable because they don't want to turnover deep in their own territory. And when they're inside the red zone on the other end, you're going to see them get conservative and predictable because they don't want to turn the ball over and not get the points. So that's a problem. That's a problem. And I think that so many people agreed with me, and I'm not that I said it and they said, "Yeah, you're right." It's that I saw so many people saying the same thing as me that I got frustrated that when the Steelers had the lead in the Colts game late, they went back to not throwing the ball beyond the line of scrimmage, running the ball up the middle, don't throw it past the line of scrimmage. Then they
Dude, did
lost
I
the
just
lead, and they had to get the 40-yard reception to Washington, the long pass interference penalty. Then they went all conservative again to make sure they got their field goal. Then when they got the ball back at the end, with a chance to end the game with the ball, they went all conservative and everything. So that's a problem. This is a game to not worry about that. Especially early. Let it fly. Let it fly. Let it go. So I want to see those red zone numbers go through the roof. Don't play it safe in the red zone. Got to get those 7 points. You can't get down and have a questionable call whether or not you got into the end zone in the touchdown zone, and decide you're not going to challenge because you got 2 more shots. We didn't talk about that one previously, and we should have, because a lot of people wanted to see Tomlin challenge that on Jalen Samuels when he got down. The referee, there's no way they could have seen that his knee was on someone else's hand. You
that
can't expect them to make that call.
that was a coin that one because of that is a
Yeah.
coin flip at best. And did we
I don't
really
know
want
that they
to
would have
coin
turned
flip?
it. It'd have
No, I
been
don't
tough.
think they would. What, the way we've been with the way they don't overturn stuff right now? Probably not.
Yeah.
You figure from a foot away we're going to punch it in, but
And honestly, on the next play, I almost said
we
Terrell
lose
Edmonds.
two.
Trey Edmonds had a walk-in touchdown
Correct.
because Roosevelt Nix goes around, seals the left side. David DeCastro pulls, seals the left side.
And
And
he
Edmonds
runs up,
gets
pounces
it
back.
right up in the middle. If he'd have gone out and followed his blockers, no one was there to touch him.
Can I
And
ask the
instead, he
other
lost
question?
2 yards.
Can I ask the other question on this?
Sure.
We're a foot away.
Yeah.
Why are we even turning around and handing the ball off? Just sneak
Because
the daggone ball into the end zone.
Patrick Mahomes got hurt. I know. I understand.
But why? Okay.
But I'll also tell
Okay.
you this.
If there's a
I'll
team
also
that
tell you
can't
this.
afford to lose their quarterback, it's that dreaded team up north, and they sneak the
Yeah.
quarterback.
Yeah. Well, I'm going to say this. I do believe, maybe not this season, but in years past, for a long time, Marquise Pouncey has been one of the best centers in the league. He is not a big physical bruiser. He's a finesse guy.
Yep.
He's going to beat you with finesse as a center. The Steelers are one of they're known for pulling their centers because they get centers that can do it. And he's not a big power it up in there guy. That could also be part of it. I don't know. I think it was they called the right play, but the running back didn't run it. They didn't execute it right. So
Yep.
What do you want to see coming into this week? What would you like to see to improve or change or something that you see, since you and I are going to be there and sitting in the stadium watching the game? What do we want to see?
I've got an excellent in-person Steeler record when I've gone to games, and this dates all the way back to get to see, Bradshaw and Franco and those guys. Now, you unfortunately never got to do that because you were too little. I was
Yep.
barely old enough to remember all that, but my record for being at games is pretty good. So number one, I want to
Specifically
see
games
on OW.
that you don't take your son to. Every
Yeah,
time you take your son,
we
they
lose.
lose. Anytime you go without your son,
Preseason, regular
they
season,
win.
right? So
Mhm.
I've got a decent record, and especially since I'm not taking Kyle this week, the Steelers have to win. But things I would like to see, we need pressure on Goff. Okay,
Mhm.
the reason we need pressure on Goff is because I don't think he's particularly good under pressure.
Yeah.
I think he'll make a mistake. I think we could be looking at TJ or Bud with sack fumbles.
Mhm.
I think we could be looking at interceptions if we can get pressure.
Yeah, I think you're right. I think you're exactly right, but we gotta get the pressure. I wanna see that pressure come without having to send a bunch of guys
Yep.
because they've got the weapons to get the ball out to them because they've got I don't know who all is gonna be healthy. They're coming off the bye, so they have a chance to be healthier, to have Cooks, to have Woods, to have Cup. Am I correct? I mean, because I don't watch the Rams a lot, I assume that Cup is their slot guy,
Um,
but I don't know
yeah,
if he always is or not.
he does run a lot out of the slot. Um,
Mhm.
I mean, he's the leading receiver in the NFL right now, yards wise.
Yeah. Yeah, and the thing
And
is
the guy's phenomenal yak. I grabbed him up mid rounds in a bunch of fantasy leagues because I liked the guy and he
Mhm.
was giving me a crazy year last year till he got hurt. I took the gamble on him and went and grabbed him, and because of him, I'm winning a bunch of fantasy leagues right now.
Yeah. Well,
He scares me.
um,
Now,
someone said that Woods is in the slot a good bit as well, and the Cup is outside. I know Cup was in the slot some in years past.
well, and he has
Regardless,
been.
the thing is, when you got those three receivers, it doesn't matter who you're putting in the slot. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
That that if you focus on the slot guy, it. I think Cam Sutton is going to need to see the field more than Mike Hilton. Nothing against Mike Hilton, but I think Cam Sutton matches up more physically um, in the man-to-man pass defense that the Steelers might have to be doing with the three wide receivers, the sets they might see.
look, them with their receivers. I feel more confident in our secondary this year to handle that than I have in years.
Hmm.
Okay, could they still be a problem? Yes, they could still be a problem, but few of the past years they'd have blown us out with those receivers. We stand a chance.
Hmm.
And the nice thing is, I think our secondary is good enough that we're not going to have to roll so much coverage at guys that we can't get pressure.
Yeah. Yes. I really believe that, and I like what they've been doing with the one defensive lineman, where
Oh,
they've
and then
been
just and then playing the
and
what
bringing
I
in Vince Williams in as another linebacker and letting him kind of rove around.
and
I mean,
play the amoeba line.
play the amoeba line that team up north used to do several years ago. I mean, they still might do it, but I know they kind of innovated that several years ago.
Yep.
When you'd look on a pass play and you'd see no guys with their hands on the ground. So, um, but I think the secondary is a team that can handle it. Now, I want people to understand when people thought I was making cuts at Joe Hayden. I was not making cuts at Joe Hayden, and I can't remember if it was this show or the preview. What I'm saying is, Joe Hayden went from the guy that other teams just avoided from the Steelers last year
To now
to
he
the guy you might have to consider throwing at him more than other places. Not because Joe Hayden's gotten any worse, because he hasn't. It's because the rest of the Steelers' defense has gotten so much better with
right.
Steven Nelson and Minkah Fitzpatrick, who has made Terrell Edmonds better. You've got better coverage linebackers. Not that Hayden's. Trust me, that's not a cut on Hayden. That's supposed to be saying how much everything with the passing game in the defense and the secondary has improved.
Yep, our coverage game has definitely stepped up.
Yep. So you still got to worry about. You got to make sure you keep Gurley under wraps. Although he's kind of hot or cold. I mean, you never know which guy you're going to see there.
Oh, and he's not been particularly hot this year because I got him in a bunch of fantasy teams, and he hasn't been helping much.
No. Yep. So, I mean, this is interesting because the Rams, this isn't a team that the Steelers face very much. I had to go back for my article, and I was looking at the last 10 matchups with the Los Angeles / St. Louis Rams, which is actually, this is the first time they'll face the Los Angeles Rams since they've gone back to Los Angeles.
So how far back does 10 go? I mean,
how far back had 10 go? Let's just say this.
Fearsome foursome days or what?
Well, let's just say this. If I went back to 11, it would have been the Super Bowl.
Wow.
To go back 10 games against the Rams, it went back, I'm pretty sure it was 1980. It was either 80 or 81. And then because the 11th game was the Super Bowl. So that was crazy that you had to go back that far, because there was, I mean, it's every 4 years now, but then when they changed that up, when they redid the divisions, it just so happened the Rams was one of those teams they didn't face for 7 years because they were due to face them, and then they changed everything, and then they didn't see them.
Yep.
So that's pretty cool. So what we want to see this week, you got to keep the defense rolling. Got to love those turnovers. Got to love the sacks and the pressure. I mean, honestly, the Colts didn't have a chance in that last drive if they weren't bailed out on the pass interference call.
Can we leave that one just alone? Because we could spend a whole show just.
Oh, I know. And we're not going to get into that and the whole thing of the challenge and whatnot. It was a bad call. The ball wasn't catchable. Let's just let it go. But what I'm saying is,
Pittsburgh that day had it great. The ball was thrown to the 50, or no, the player was at the 50 and the ball was thrown to Ligonier.
Yeah. Yeah, which I think is funny that where you see where they spotted the ball in that penalty and where the ball landed from the pass, I'm pretty sure was over 20 yards difference. I mean, it was ridiculous. I'd have to go back and check. I'm ballparking it. Don't quote me on that number. So we've got some good stuff that we want to see this week. Want to see the red zone. Hey, I didn't even talk about the Steelers' red zone defense. There is something in there I want to mention.
Okay.
That the Steelers' red zone defense is leading the league in takeaways. The Steelers have the most takeaways in the red zone on the season. They have 5.
Hey, that's a nice number.
Yes, that is 5 scores you have taken off the board in one way or the other. So they have 5 turnovers in the red zone. Now, I'd have to go back and check each one individually. The way I brought this up with Pro Football Reference, I don't know if if the ball was snapped in the red zone or if the turnover occurred in the red zone. You know what I mean? Like, I'm pretty sure that they did count Fitzpatrick's interception against the Dolphins because he intercepted it in the red zone, but the play wasn't run from the red zone, if you know what I mean.
Yeah.
But I'm not sure if that one was counted or not. I'd have to go back and look at them individually. But because they were going by where the drive ended. So I'm probably saying that's where it ended, where the turnover occurred. So yeah, that was probably included that one. But hey, that's still 5 turnovers. Now the defense could really improve because the defense has actually given up 15 touchdowns and 8 field goals and 5 turnovers is what they've gotten. So that was on what is that, 28. I know there's some discrepancy between some different sources. The NFL says the Steelers their defense have had 27 red zone, where Pro Football Reference says 28. And I found exactly what it was. It was the 20-yard touchdown pass they gave up to Josh Gordon in week 1 against that team up north.
Because some
that
folks
one's counting it as a red zone and one's counting it as not a red zone. So
and technically, by the definition of red zone, which way is that supposed to go?
Yeah, and the thing is, it could be based on, they call it a 20-yard touchdown because the nose of the ball was 2 inches away from the 20. They call it 20 and not 21. Trust me, I'm not going back to watch that game.
Yeah,
so I don't really care. But either way, that's something to improve on. There is knocking down those touchdowns. But Hey, I say let's open it up to any numbers or questions that people have right now. We've got about
Numbers
10
for the
minutes left.
upcoming game. Upcoming
Yep.
game. What do we got for
Upcoming
numbers?
game, we got numbers or questions. Remind you, you still got the super chat feature coming in there if you wanted to make sure you're getting it answered or stated there. And I know there's kind of been some going back with some stuff in the live chat. I haven't caught all that, and I don't know if I want
No,
to.
people are still arguing Mason versus Duck. That's been on there.
Don't get me
Leave it
started.
alone. That's for
I
Lance.
kind of
Take that to Lance's show.
Yeah, I chimed in the live chat with that on the post game show because I just kind of had enough. Um, um, wow, I'm really must have missed out on some stuff when I start looking in here. Um, Keystone wants to know, Keystone Wolf 814, do you think because it's a contract year, Dupree is doing well? That was a number we might talk. We thought we might talk about.
Yeah, might as well bring it up.
Yeah,
Bring up the number. You bring it.
My question was going to be, I mean, was it further down there? What I was going to say, what number is Bud Dupree's next contract going to be per year? How much do you think the Steelers will offer, and what do you think he'll get? So, how many million? Um, I said I don't want to see the Steelers go anywhere above 13. That could even be too much, but someone out there might pay him 15 or 16 million a year. So, um, he got a little bit almost choked up talking about being his contract year and his performance, meaning that this he was under pressure and he's doing well. So I think it's great for him. He is making $9 million this year, so he's doing all right. And maybe it's just the pressure of earning the money right now. So
I don't know. It's, in terms of Keystone question there, I think it's a combination. I think partly is we're finally seeing the Dupree we thought we drafted, healthy and playing well. I'll be honest, some of it is because of the guys lined up on the other side from it.
Absolutely.
I think having a TJ Watt caliber player on the other side is helping make things easier for Bud. But part of it could be, he is playing for a contract.
Yeah.
You cannot deny that.
I was wondering if he would have a fall off even with Stephon Tuitt going out for the season because Tuitt was drawing so much attention that Bud was getting one-on-ones. But he's still, I mean, he's the guy to look at over there now. And then Cam's played even better since Tuitt's gone out. So
Dupree is playing with a speed off the edge that we have not seen from him.
Off the edge, yeah, because I tell you what, one of the fastest plays I think I've ever seen in person was
that one where he jumped
game
in
against Miami when I was there.
Yeah,
and he closed in on Matt Moore fast and knocked him into next Tuesday.
Yeah,
that was pretty quick. So he's a physical specimen. He just hasn't quite been getting home, and he is this year, so that's great. Jeffrey wants to know how many sacks does Aaron Donald get in this game. You know what? I'm not worried about that. Let's say half.
I'd love to say 0, but let throw it out there for you like to talk betting numbers, right?
Yeah.
All right. So realistically, are you taking the over or the under at 1.5?
Oh, at 1.5, I'm taking the under.
Okay.
Yeah. The question was if it was 1. At 1.5, I'm taking the under. I mean, the Steelers haven't given up more than I think they've had one game with 2 sacks.
Who do you see him lining up over most of the time?
He changes. He
changes around a lot.
And what's funny is he usually does not line up over the left tackle. It's probably if I based on Coach Tomlin's
I see him there. I see him there, but I probably see him there less than other areas.
Yes. But
I see him a lot. You see him a lot over the guards.
Yeah.
I expect to see him out at the tackles, either side, a little more against us. Mainly because I don't see them trying to get him past DeCastro.
And
DeCastro is the kind of lineman that I think gives him, I won't say gives him trouble, but has a better opportunity to hold him in check.
And honestly, I think they would want to move him out a little bit wider to keep Pouncey from being available for a double team.
Yeah.
So now Ramon Foster is like in the last stages of the protocol and is expected to practice tomorrow. So that'll be interesting. Cree wants to know, should we worry about Goff's scrambling ability? I mean, you always worry about when someone's scrambling, but I mean, this team's already faced Lamar Jackson and Russell Wilson. I'm not putting Goff up there with those guys. You've got to worry about it, but I'm not.
Goff can move, but you're right. He can't move like Russell Wilson. He can't move like Lamar Jackson. I would even maybe question if he moves like Josh Allen.
Yeah, no, I don't think he moves like Allen.
Just he has good vision and good feet, but overall speed, I just don't think he's there. And I think we've got the speed to handle that on the outside from our linebacking core.
Yep, we've got to be smart. I mean, a lot of people complained about Dupree running the arc and running it so wide, you just let people go right up in behind him, and that's not what I've been seeing this year. So Steeler fan 74 wants to know, let's do these rapid fire as much as we can. How many sacks do we get this week?
I want to see 5 again.
That was my number as well. Michael wants to know, do you think we need to get a real running back? And my answer is, I think we have them.
Yeah, I think we're all right. We got the guys that will fill the gap enough until Connor's good to go.
Yeah, I mean, it's funny because yes, we were going to talk about the 13 receptions by Jalen Samuels, but in essence, those were basically rushes. I mean, that's the way they're working it now. So a lot of those short passes, you just, especially to running backs, you just kind of look at that. Someone thought they were joking about Goff scrambling. I'm like, yeah, compared to other people. Some people were just answering questions that was actually that were already out there. Someone wants to know about Mason's scrambling ability. I don't want to see them rolling him out in the red zone like they did last week. Those were designed rollouts 2 different times that really cut down how much of the field he used. And of course, they want to roll him right because that's what you want to throw coming out of that. But if you actually look back at his completions,
he does better when he's forced out to the left.
I don't even know if he's forced out to the left, but like almost 70% of his throws are to the left rather than to the right. So he throws it to the left more. So when you're scrolling him, when you're rolling him out to the right, when he's scrambling and rolling out to the right, that's actually, I don't think that's his strong point.
Before you throw one up there, hey, Ron Chess, not sure I understand your question you threw up there about interceptions for the Steelers. I mean, how many do we throw or how many do we create?
I know he's made how many do we create?
That's what I was hoping he was.
Of course, that's Ron. I know Ron's going to do that. That's his question.
If we, I would say this: if we get the pressure that I'd like us to be able to get on Goff, I think we could pick him 2 times.
That's what Cree thinks right here. He says 2.
There you go.
If you were giving me the over/under and you were saying 2, I would say I wouldn't
put it at 2. I'd set it at 1.5,
and I would go over.
Go pick. Yes.
Give me that hook. Hey, we've got a super chat question in here, so let's bring that up from Russ. He says Mason needs to step into passes for power and spiral. Yeah, I mean, I would say that that's true. Would you say that's true?
I'd say it's true. He's right now. I've seen some passes where he's kind of not stepping in, where he's kind of throwing off the back foot, where he's not really driving into the ball. I want to see him drive into the ball.
Yeah, that's the thing. And he's going to do that more as he gets more comfortable and confident. I think that's just one of the things the way he was. So Russ, thanks for $1.99 in the tip jar. We appreciate that. I want to answer this one. The Keystone says, "Are yards gained from pass defense?" He's popped that
up there a couple times throughout the podcast. He keeps throwing it back up. That's a good one to get.
They do not count for passing yards. They do not go for the receiver. They do not count for the quarterback, but they do count as first downs.
Yes.
So when against the Colts, the Steelers only gave up 2 third down conversions in the second half. They were like they gave up like 2 of 3 in the first half, and it was, I think, 2 of 9 in the second half, and one of them was the pass interference penalty late in the game. Other than that, they were pretty much shutting them down on third down. So they count as offensive yards. No, do they count as? I mean, they don't count as individual statistics. We'll say that. I
There
mean,
you go.
obviously they count for
That we know
like
for
the
certain.
drives. Yes. So nope. Hold on, it just jumped ahead. Someone asked about sacking Goff. We mentioned that one.
That one.
Okay. This is a good question by Zachariah. Are we holding their rush to less than 80 yards?
I think we can. Yes.
Yeah. I mean, the Colts had a great rushing game, and I know Brian Anthony Davis said they had to hold him to 90 yards, and they needed to hold Mack to 90 yards, and they held him to 89. But he also lost 3 on that last carry, which was big.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure that was Mack that was carrying it there.
I would say we could. Just based on the Ram style. Ram style running and the Colt style running very different. I also think I kind of like the Colts offensive line a little more for running than I do the Rams.
Okay. Here we go. This was is that Jeffords or Jeffords?
Jeffords.
Jeffords.
You can read it however you want,
yeah.
as long as you get all the letters in there.
Well, here we go. Can we cover Wood, Cup, and Cooks? I'm going to say yes. Here's something you got to think about.
Our best chance of doing it in the past 6 years.
Yes, absolutely. And I would like to see them use Cam Sutton a little bit more, because I think he could really help out with those guys.
Yep.
Notice they had been using him and Hilton a lot in the dime when they did that. So that's interesting. I wanted to see how far down their receiving list is their tight ends, because they're not known for big plays out of their tight ends. And that's generally what gets the Steelers more than anything else. So that's kind of interesting to see,
Their tight ends, Everett is capable.
They don't use them very much.
But I'm with you. I think they underutilize them.
Yeah.
As some folks might say, we underutilize Vance McDonald at times right now. I would say that Everett is being used in a similar way.
Yeah. Hey, we got another
super chat.
Super chat coming here. We got this from $1.99 of the chip jars. Is that OC Cams?
Yeah, OC Cams Ox.
Okay, yeah, we'll say that. Which we love butchering names.
Can I go with this one?
Yes.
All right. Switzer's getting paid to fair catch punts, because if he returns punts, he's going to get 7 yards, but we're going to get a penalty that knocks us back 10, and we end up further back than if he just fair catches the punt.
I was going to say Switzer's getting paid to fair catch punts, because the key word in there is catch.
Yeah.
We need him to catch the punts. I know I would love to get more on a return, and I don't like, especially on the kickoffs. It just seems like it gets him so long to get going. It's frustrating.
I'm not I love Switzer for his hands in terms of a returner. I don't think much of him as a returner. I think that, sorry, Kyle, but I think, if Kyle ran past and bumped into him, he'd fall down.
Yeah. He is not a yards after catch guy on offense. I brought that up. The last catch that he had, what game was that? When it was like 3rd and 7 or 3rd and 5, and they threw it to him behind the line of scrimmage. I'm like, that's not the guy you throw to behind the line of scrimmage. He's the guy that you throw when it's 3rd and 1, and he runs a 2-yard pattern, and he gets the first down.
Catch the ball and be right down.
That's who he is. That's who he is. You can use him for that. He was on the field from the offense a decent bit, but was not targeted. Got another super chat question.
Another super chat. Another good one.
So here we go. $4.99 from Solarverse6, which is quite an interesting icon you got there. He says, does Mason throw to Ramsey's direction, or do you think the offensive coordinator will handcuff him? The whole point of the show is I'm like, don't handcuff him. Just let him do. But you've got to pay attention when you've got one of the best corners in the game out there.
You got to know him. You got to respect him. But I don't think that you just call a play and think, I'm not throwing it that way.
Exactly.
I think we call our plays the way we normally would, and we go through, and Mason should be going through his progression of reads the way he normally would.
Exactly.
And if your first read is towards Ramsey and you got the guy open, get in the ball.
Yeah.
If he's not
Don't.
open, go to read number 2.
Mhm.
Sorry, everybody's going to hate it. Dump it down to Samuels. Let him
Yeah.
get 6 yards.
Yes. Yeah. I mean, I'm especially. It's funny. I don't want to just knock the dump down plays. The dump down plays work in the right situation when you're actually looking like you're going to press the ball down the field. You've got to throw the ball down the field for the dump down plays to work. So you've got to take your shots when you have your shots and then dump it down when you don't have your shots. That's what it all comes down to. I know. Let's see. We got another one. Is that I've got to make sure I'm reading these right and that I didn't miss any. We got another $1.99. Another big fan of the show, Mr. Antonio Brown, wants to know, will Switz be incorporated more into the game plan?
No,
I don't see that
I don't see it.
because I mean, when you got 3 receivers with J Wash, as Brian Anthony Davis liked to refer to him, stepping up and having a decent game last week. I know Deontay Johnson didn't have a ton of big stats last week, but he did get that big pass interference call that set them up
he did.
inside the 10, which gave them which gave them the go ahead field goal, right? That was the go ahead one. I'm getting all the field goals mixed up. So will he be incorporated more? I wouldn't be surprised if he's been getting 0 offensive targets. I would not be surprised
If he gets 2 or 3.
if he gets 1 or 2, or honestly, if they do something different and put him in the backfield with something, or if they hit him on a reverse where getting more incorporated into the game plan is, think about that, is either 1 target or 1 carry. That's more than he's been getting. So I could see it could be more. Well, we are running out of time here. I already got some people saying, hey, good show, because yes, we are at that time of night.
Hey,
guess what?
Russ just threw you some more money. You got to put him up there.
That's what you guys do. That's how you prolong the show. Is you
That's
use
right.
the super chat. Another $1.99 of the tip jar from Russ. I like to see Trey Edmonds more involved in the game. Trey was involved a good bit this past week. They basically used him as the bruiser and Samuels as the
change of pace / receiving.
Exactly. And I was okay with that. I was all right with that. And people were probably saying, well, if Edmonds could do that last week, why did they have him in at the end of the game against Miami? Which was funny because during that last drive when I was there with my father, I actually said when Connor came back out, I'm like, I'd like to see them put Edmonds in. I'm like, but I don't think he was ready to play because they didn't know they were going to need him. And he just didn't get in there. And here we go. Kathy Ford saying, thanks for joining, Rich. You've now got the open invitation for Stat Geek, which reminds me, this is a great way to close the show. Couple things that we just need to do to clean stuff up. Next week, we are operating on a much different schedule. It is not set in stone yet because the Steelers play on Sunday, and then they turn around and play on Thursday. Thursday this week, we will still have our regular Steelers preview show after Wednesday night having the standard as a standard. Then Friday night, I said it, Saturday burning question, which is me this week. And then Sunday, we will have a post-game show. We will have the regular Monday hangover. But the problem is we got to squeeze some other stuff in there. It might be that Stat Geek could possibly be moved to after next week's game to where we would be talking about 2 games and then rolling into the next one. It's not set in stone. There will be a show on next Tuesday night, but it might be the Steelers preview or the standard instead. It's a lot easier when it was a Monday night game to kind of do a couple shows on the same night. Because the hangover usually is an earlier show, but all these other shows are generally later based on people's schedules. So it could be Stat Geek. There's a good chance because we are the newest show that we might get bumped out to talk about two games in a row. So I will say real quick on a parting note, Steelers got to beat the Browns. End of story. Because The
No.
division still isn't out of reach. I'm
Just
going
the
to say
Rams.
this.
Stop worrying about everybody
Yeah.
else. The Rams
No,
are next.
the only reason I'm saying the Browns is because we might not get a chance to say anything about the Browns.
Oh,
So
okay.
worry about the Rams. Worry about the Rams. In
Beat
place
the
of your
Rams.
Stat Geek,
Then let's
next
start.
week-
Then let's beat the Browns.
then yes. So then let's turn around and beat the Browns. We had another super chat we got to do.
Really? Are you really going to put that one up? Okay.
Yep, I'll bring it up. Says he wants to send a duck jersey. That's funny. But that was $1.99 into the tip jar. Hey, unless it's got bad language, I'm going to bring it up because they donated.
That's right. That's that right. They donated.
Now the other thing is, you and I are going to be at the game Sunday.
We are going to be at the game.
We should probably won't be for very long. We're going to try to find a time and location to go live. It'll be both of us on the same screen, much like the last time we were at the game. If there's any way I can get that out there, here's what you do.
Russ says he might be there.
Yeah, that would be great. We're still, like I said, we're in section 122. Come visit us. Here's another $1.99 in the tip jar. Make it loud Sunday. We'll do what we can.
We'll be adding our voices to the mix.
Yes, and we're going to look to go live. If you have a Twitter account, go in to one of my articles. Follow me on Twitter. I don't have a ton of Twitter followers. I don't tweet a bunch because I don't have many Twitter followers. I'm under 100. It would be nice to get more than that. I don't do anything other than Steelers, and I don't follow anybody other than stuff with Steelers. If you get into talking about other stuff, I just don't follow you anymore. So, but if you go in and follow me on Twitter, I'll try to tweet something to say it looks like we're going to be going live around this time at this location. And so if you follow me on Twitter, you can get that. I'll try to give you at least a 5-minute warning. I'd prefer to give you a 10-minute warning in case you're somewhere else in the stadium. Because what would be great is if you guys could find us, then we have a group of people to talk to.
Right, and we're hoping to get there pretty early.
Yeah,
since we're a 4:25 game, we're wanting to roll up there nice and early.
Yeah, we're hoping to be to the stadium. I mean, even if we get in trouble with traffic or held up with other stuff, I don't see any reason that we won't be at least outside the stadium by the latest, 3:00?
Yeah, we better beat that.
Yeah. Well, no, I'm thinking we're going to beat that.
You told me we're meeting up on Sunday. I would hope we're catching one of the early Clippers getting over there. So
that would be, well, remember, I big guys got to eat before a 4:25 game. So that's something I got to take care of. So we'll be there. Yeah. Nah, we don't eat food at the stadium. Costs too much money.
Pay $8 for a bite.
Nah, for $8 I can make a dozen of my own pepperoni.
I hear you.
Yeah. So let's see you guys out there at the game. Like I said, follow me on Twitter to get a notification of where that would be. Don't know if Stat Geek will be on next week or not. On the regular night,
it will be on. The game, you got to come see us.
They got to come see us at the game. Yep. So that's when we'll be on.
Look for the helmet.
Look for the helmet.
By the way, speaking of helmets, that hat that you're wearing tonight.
Yeah,
with the stripe on, whatever, and the way you got everything curved. What are you trying to be, Steely McBeam or whatever?
I'm doing what I can.
I mean, that's what you kind of look like tonight.
Yeah.
But look for the Kylo Ren helmet.
Yep.
And two really big guys in jerseys.
And I'll be honest with you, if they don't let me in with the helmet, I'll be looking for someone who's tailgating to say, "Hey, can you hold my helmet? Because I'm not going back across on the Clipper to put my helmet in my car."
You know darn well we'll just keep switching gates till somebody.
Yeah, we'll just keep going and find the right person.
Yep.
So thanks for tuning in tonight. Once again, we ran over a little bit, but we wanted to get you that information there at the end. We'll see how you're going to be getting content live on YouTube every day. Next week, the shows might be shifted up, but you're going to see something. You got to tune in to see it. So make sure you're checking out Behind the Steel Curtain for all your Pittsburgh Steelers needs. It's your one-stop shop for all things Steelers. Make sure you're going in there, hitting that like button on all of our podcasts, whether it be on YouTube, whether you're giving a high rating on whatever you listen to as a podcast. And as Lance Williams likes to say, tune in, tell a friend, and subscribe. We'll see you all next time.